So in this case, it says it's positive, but it's not too significant, economically speaking. If I change the cost of capital a little bit, it's still there. Maybe now it is green up. It's negative, but it's not too bad. Or it's definitely red. I actually want to, I thought I wanted to make this turquoise. Okay. Just to get the color contrast better. Maybe even something lighter than that. Yeah. You can easily see that there's a reason why I am not teaching art. Okay, that looks a little bit better. All right. So I immediately, there's even a 5 arrow thingy. If you wanted to, you could have a lower significance, for example, 5%. If it's within plus or minus 5%, I can have a horizontal yellow, but no need to be too fancy. This alone is good enough for me. You know, so given my inputs, the calculation is made automatically, and it also gives me an indication of what I need to do. Now, in terms of decision rule, I'm in the wrong section. There are two types of projects. One is called standalone projects. These are projects that are evaluated on their own merits. You either go ahead with the project or you decide, okay, it's not worth it. I'm going to do nothing. And sometimes you have multiple choices, but you cannot accept all of them. These are called mutually exclusive projects. So if I have three possible projects, A, B, C, if I accept A, there's no way I can do B and C, even if I had the money to fund them. So it's not mutually exclusive. It's not about being able to fund. Now, decision MPV decision rule. I mean, according to your book, for standalone projects, except if MPV is greater than 0, and reject otherwise. Of course, we know that these numbers are A, estimates, B, are produced by human beings that may have inherent biases themselves, not necessarily fraudulent. Sometimes this is your project, it's your baby. Without even thinking about it, your biases are built into your analysis. But in practice, there is a gray area. So if MPV is greater than some And I'm gonna make that Greek letter. Sigma is the equivalent of S in the Greek alphabet, except this kind of stuff is important, especially uh, if you're allowing certain decentralized decisions. You know, if the Minneapolis office is going to evaluate a project, you got to give them some sort of independence, right? Because the CFO or COO is too busy to deal with all these individual branches. So you tell them, here's the rule. Let's say 20% is S. If it's greater than 20% of cost of capital, accept. If it's less, reject. Otherwise, let's think about it more. Maybe interact with the head office, explain to me, even though I'm getting only 10% of the cost of project as an MPV, tell me why I should do it. Convince me. That's 20% greater than 20% cost of capital. You may view that as convincing enough by itself. So it doesn't require expensive, in terms of human cost analysis. For mutually exclusive projects, um, accept the project bid the highest MPV, provided the highest MPV is positive. Just because you have three options, but all of them have negative MPVs, you don't have to pick the one that is the least bad. You can simply say, to hell with all of them, I'm going to stay put. That is always your option. In fact, even standalone projects are technically mutually exclusive because you have two options: leave the firm as it is or go ahead with the new project. So in that case, leaving the firm as it is has zero MPV by definition. Of course, in practice, you will have gray areas on these as well, but same issue applies. If two projects are pretty close to each other in terms of MPV, don't automatically pick one of them, especially if it's a large cost kind of issue. Do further analysis before you make your decisions. Okay, now let's think about these four properties. I mean, I already told you that MPV satisfies all four of them. Well, does it use all of the cash flows? You know, we have the definition up there. So based on that, tell me, does MPV use all of the cash flows? Why not? Tell me which one it doesn't use. When you say it doesn't use all, you have to have some idea which one it doesn't use. Or it's just a feeling. Feelings don't mean nothing in finance, okay? We're not doing accounting here. This is finance. I know I make fun of my accounting friends. Sometimes when they say something, oh, don't worry about it, it's just accounting. Don't get me wrong. The accounting that is done for just keeping books versus the accounting that is done to understand what those books mean. Those are two different things. One is financial accounting, that is managerial accounting. Managerial is much more important and closer to finance, in fact. Any of you guys are interested in getting maybe a CMA designation, certified managerial accountant? It's basically a good combination of accounting and finance. In fact, that exam has two parts. The second part is almost entirely finance. So if you're going to do something like that, you should definitely do a double major or at least a minor with finance. It does use all of them, so that's fine. Second, does it take the riskiness into account? It's not immediately obvious that it does, but it does that through the discount rate. In fact, when you do the capital budgeting properly, your discount rates should be adjusted for riskiness. Well, if it is, then by definition, it takes risks into account. Does it take time value of money into account? Yes, because I'm working with the present values of stuff. Does it give you an indication of how much value is added to the firm? Well, that is the definition of MPV. MPV is precisely the dollar amount of value that is added to the firm. This project is going to bring you cash flows in the future. We calculate their present values minus what I need to spend to put it in place. So by definition, that is the value added to the firm. In fact, we came up with these conditions with MPV in mind. So you're probably saying, why don't we just stop there? Why do we even calculate anything else? And in theory, you would be right. But problem is, as much as we would like to, finance is not a hard science. Okay, finance or economics. But one of the pejorative terms for economics is dismal science. All right, it is the social science.